Where life is worth living, that is the slogan of Webster, New York. And in fact, the village actually has its own slogan, and that is where life keeps getting better. And, a lot of people don't really know where this comes from. There are some folktale, and then there is coming from the town historian, which has a best guess kind of deal. The folktale is a bit more interesting. It goes like, apparently there was a series of murders, something like a serial killer, and bodies kept winding up found in Webster, New York. And as a way to get rid of the reputation of being a dangerous place to live, the town came up with the slogan of where life is worth living, to kind of let the residents know that, hey, it is still worth living here in Webster, New York. And in fact, it's so good, we're going to thrive through this, right? And sure as hell they did. And I believe truly that the community has really embodied these two slogans. Now, whether that folktale is true or not, I don't know. I haven't confirmed. The town historian is not saying anything about it. So that's kind of, let's go with the facts here. The town historian is saying a much less interesting story, and that is that the slogan had came from the Enterprising Ad Club. So, that's not really that fun. Not that serial killers are fun. I'm not saying that at all. But the story is more interesting going the other way, kind of rags to riches kind of thing. But Webster is thriving, and I do believe that the people of Webster really embody those slogans of where life is worth living and where life keeps getting better. That being said, let's hop into Webster, New York. Webster is a community that is just east of the city of Rochester and on the south side of Lake Ontario. It is a shoreline type community, right? Being that it has beaches and marinas and all sorts of stuff that lines Lake Ontario. And what's really unique about Webster is that, for one, it's a big area, but you have a real mix of rural communities. You have a mix of the village type community, and then you also have like lake life type community, which is really, really cool. You have all three aspects, but then you also have great proximity to the city of Rochester. You have great proximity to Sodus Bay. You have great proximity to the Finger Lakes, Penfield, Pittsford, Fairport, what have you. So let's get into, I will throw up a map here of where Webster is located. The first thing that I'm going to say, and it's because we just got hit by a snowstorm. It's December 5th today. And as I was driving around trying to get some footage, I just couldn't because the snow would have impacted my camera. I don't have a waterproof camera, so I can't go out and get footage without some sort of action camera or something like that. But Webster, being that it lines Lake Ontario, you will get a little bit more lake effect weather than you would if you're, say, down in Farmington or Canandaigua or toward the Finger Lakes region, even Penfield or Fairport, right? Or Pittsford. You're going to get more lake effect being that Webster lines Lake Ontario. I have had clients who live in Webster, and their house would be slammed with snow. This was last winter, actually. Their house is slammed with snow. But then you go, 15 minutes from them, you go 15 minutes south from them, and you have almost nothing, right? It's more like a dusting, which is very odd, but that's lake effect snow. You can get certain towns with nothing and certain towns with 3 feet of snow. That's just how it works. But Webster, being that it's on the lake, gets a majority of that lake effect snow. So if Webster is on your short list, you might want to invest in some good snow tires, some good winter gear, snow pants, coat, gloves, hats, that kind of thing, right? Sleds. If you have kiddos, there's a bunch of sledding hills and parks and stuff that you can go and take them to and pull them around or let them go down the hill or whatever. So Webster, if I pull up the town of Webster on niche.com, and I'll show you here, it's an overall grade of A-. The public schools are one of the best things about Webster. Public schools are immaculate. They're just phenomenal. They are an A minus. And Webster is rated one of the top towns in New York State as a whole, not just the Rochester area, not just the suburbs of Rochester, but New York State as a whole. Webster is one of the top towns to live in. There is a mix of young professionals and retirees and anyone in between, right? It's great for families. A majority of people own their homes in Webster. And something around 70% tend to lean conservative as far as, political leanings go. And then, by that same 70 or 80% people own their homes, which is pretty ridiculous, considering, the cost of home ownership now. It's rising, and wages aren't really going up that quickly. So the fact that a majority of people in Webster do own their houses, that's pretty significant. It goes toward, it just goes to show how thriving Webster really is. So again, public schools is A minus. B is housing. And the only reason housing is getting a B is because of the competition. So Webster is going to be one of the more competitive real estate markets in the Rochester region. And that's just because of the schools, and everything is great. It's a safe place to live. Crime and safety here is a B. Diversity is a B. Health and fitness is a B. Commute is a B minus. Like, all these things lead up to the housing being super competitive. It's probably one of the more competitive markets in the area. Now, Pittsford, Penfield, Fairport, Henrietta, like, these areas are very competitive as well. But Webster neighborhoods are, at least from my clients, some of the most popular areas or neighborhoods that I've dealt with or that I've seen, right? It's just extremely popular. I just recently sold a 2-bed, 1.5 bath for $345,000. $345,000 2-bed, 1.5 bath, and the master, the full bathroom was in the primary bedroom, so it wasn't even accessible to the rest of the house. That suits like one set of buyers, and that's elderly empty nesters kind of deal, who don't have too many guests over kind of deal. And it sold at a very high price. So it's just competitive, and people are wanting to get into the school district and in the area just because of all the things Webster has going for it. So B plus for jobs, B minus for cost of living. The only reason, it's getting a B minus is just because taxes are a little bit higher in Webster. They're not the highest in Monroe County, but they're higher than, say, Henrietta, where Henrietta has the cheapest taxes in Monroe County. So, cost of living, it's going to be very, like, all your grocery store prices and everything, your gas and everything is going to be the same as Penfield, Fairport, Rochester, whatever, right? But your taxes are going to be slightly more in Webster, so that, increases the cost of living a little bit. It's an A for good for families. That's very important, and that's because of the school districts. But then they also have, I've heard of plenty of like homeschool pods and communities within Webster, which is great because there's a growing homeschool community. I mean, really in the United States now, but especially here in New York State. B for nightlife. Now, Webster does have bars and taverns and, pubs and things like that, but there aren't any clubs, anything like that. You're going to have to go into the city of Rochester. You're not going to get that in Penfield. You're not going to get that in Fairport. You're not going to get that in Williamson. You're not going to get that, even in Irondequoit, you really won't get any clubs. You're going to have to go into the city of Rochester in order to do that, which then you're dealing with the hustle and bustle. You're dealing with population, right? So just keep that in mind. But, most people that I'm helping to buy homes aren't moving somewhere for a nightlife. If they want a nightlife, they go to the bars or pubs or taverns, right? Or restaurants that are open late. They don't go to the clubs, and they're not getting wild with the kids. They're typically just going out and having a meal and a few drinks and calling it good. So Webster is great for that, especially if you like water facing restaurants and bars and stuff. They have plenty of those. plenty of them. Seafood restaurants right on Lake Ontario or right on the Irondequoit Bay. All sorts of restaurants that are right there on the bay and on the lake, which is really cool, really unique. You don't get that very often in these parts. And so Webster has a majority of them, I think. And, that's what really makes it unique and really charming in a sense. So population is 45,223, give or take, right? Median home value is 233,500. I'd say that's going to be increasing here soon once they update numbers. That's going to be increasing probably closer to 300,000 for the median home value, just because you do have, Webster, you have a few homes that are maybe 150,000, but you also have homes that are $5, $6, $7 million. Like Webster is, I'd say many of the homes are very affluent, especially lining the lake. They're very affluent, and you got to factor those into the averages and the median. So the median is probably going to go up to around 300,000. What I'd say though is a majority of your communities are going to be selling right around 400,000 right now. For something that's, move-in ready, livable, and aesthetically charming. Now, for those of you who don't mind a little bit of cosmetic updates, you like making those changes yourself, you can definitely get something that's move-in ready and move-in ready, safe, sanitary, clean, whatever, and structurally sound for 250,000, right? In Webster, you can definitely do that. That's not out of the realm of possibility. But, if you want something that's like a little bit more upscale, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, where you absolutely don't have to do any work to, you're going to be looking at 350 to 400, probably at least. Your median rent is going to be 1,200. I'd say, just knowing rental prices now, I mean, I feel like you can't get 1,200 anywhere. So, I'm not sure when this number was updated here, but I feel like you can't get that anywhere. What I will say is you do have some great options for renting on the bay. I'll show you here. I think it's called Water's Edge. It's a really nice apartment kind of community. It's right on the Irondequoit Bay, on the south side of the bay. And it's a really nice community, I'll see if I can pull that up and pull some info for you on that one, and what those rents go for. But see, so you got for crime and safety, you got your national average here. Like, you're way under national average. You're way under the state average even. So it's pretty significant when you're talking about it's a safe place to live. When you're talking about bringing your family to the area, Webster is great for that. Median household, 87,000. Honestly, it's probably more than that. There's a lot of affluent in Webster. A lot of people have raising wages in Webster. So let's click on Webster Schrader School, which is the school district here in Webster. And overall niche grade of A-. So again, it's a phenomenal school district. I think it's so it's 11-to-1 ratio, student to teacher ratio. It has 1,300 students, grades 9 through 12, and 98% of the students are proficient in math and 72% proficient in reading. So if you're looking to send the kiddos to a great school, Webster Schrader is it. It's a very good school, and I do know they're very good at sports too. I think I saw something. Yeah, number 38 of 1480 for best high schools for sports. So pretty significant there. That's pretty significant. Number 197 of 1283 for best public high schools in New York, and 242 of 1234 for best public high school teachers in New York. So if you're a teacher, if you're an educator and you're looking for a great school, Webster may be one to consider working at. Again, here's all those stats for you again. culture and safety. So this is actually a new thing I think that niche.com is presenting. So culture and safety, 70% of students agree that they feel safe at their school. 63% of students agree that they like their school and feel happy there. You know, that's it's one of those things. You know, if they're polling kids generally don't like school anyway, you know, so I mean, are they being honest? Are they being emotional? Are they being, you know, whatever. You never want to discredit what they're saying, but you know, I'd say that those are pretty good statistics considering what kids in high school may be going through, right? So yeah, that's, you know, that's Webster Schrader Schools. Something that is unique about Webster is all the shopping in Webster. So Webster, I believe, has 2 Wegmans. It has, I think, 2 Walmarts, a few Lowe's. Lowe's, the home improvement store, not the. I understand that there's a grocery store called Lowe's in some parts of the nation, but the home improvement store, and there's anything from big box stores to mom and pop stores, anything from automotive to technology to fitness. Right, there's tons of fitness centers and facilities in Webster. So if health and fitness is your thing, like it is mine, you'll be in heaven in Webster, because it's just amazing, let alone all the parks and stuff. So if you like to get out and run or be active or hike, Webster is a great place for that, because they have so many parks in Webster. It's just an amazing area for outdoor enthusiasts. I think niche.com gives it like a B plus for outdoor activities. I'd say it's actually better than that. I'd say because of all the hiking in the parks and trails and stuff, but then also you have the water, so you have marinas, you can go out fishing, you can go boating, you can, you know, jet ski, do whatever. I would personally, I'd give it an A or an A plus. You know, Webster is just that good, and you know, I don't know. I guess niche.com has their reasons for the B plus, but I would say that it's an A or A plus. One thing I didn't touch on that I do want to touch on is the commute. So it's a B minus for commute. And you know, number one, I think the weather is going to play into this, right? Weather being as harsh as it is in Webster, especially, you're going to need to give yourself some time to get to wherever you're going. And being that you're on the other side of Irondequoit, you're probably talking about 15-20 minutes to get into the city of Rochester if you're going there. You know, or if you're on the far east side of Webster, probably talking a little bit longer than that to get into the city of Rochester. It's just a big town from end to end, and you know, the weather is really gonna severely impact your travel. But without the weather, you know, you can speed those times up a little bit. But it's typically heavy traffic, people flowing into and out of the city, into Webster and in Irondequoit. You have to go through Irondequoit to get into the city of Rochester. And so there's just a lot of people flowing in and out of that area on 590 or 104. And, you know, it can get congested. For sure. So your commute, you know, there's better places if commute is super important to you, but certainly everywhere that you want to go, you can get there in 30 to 40 minutes for sure. So I know a lot of you are coming from major cities where it takes 40 minutes to go 2 miles. This is not one of those places. It's just, you know, it's going to be impacted by weather, and there's just more people, but it's certainly not like any of your major cities or anything like that. So that is Webster, New York in a nutshell. And one of these days I will do a better video to be able to get out in the community and actually show you guys the community itself. Again, I was out trying to record yesterday, and I couldn't because of the conditions. So, you know, that was kind of a bummer. I had to come in office and just do this video here. So I hope you guys got something from this. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And as much as I love making these videos for you on all things Rochester and Finger Lakes living, I would love even more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number and that email, it's popping up on the bottom of your screen. I'm the guy that answers those texts, emails, and phone calls. Definitely don't hesitate to reach out. Until the next video, guys, bye-bye.